Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough! Now we are on board the Interceptor. And basically, there's a lot of going to and from ships in this world. Although, it gets worse when we have our second visit, but this is pretty reasonably contained, to be honest. Also, Morlock. Very well done. Game. I'm pretty sure Morlock is a sort of reference to something. I can't quite remember what it is though. Oh, yes, that's it. In H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. Yes, the Morlocks are a fictional species, which are kind of underground, and they're sort of humanoid, but they are really quite terrifying and really incredibly brutal. I mean, I can certainly understand why they decided to go with this name, because it's Moogle and Warlock, but that is a surprising reference that I don't think was intentional. Although you never know, it might have been. They might have had a translator who was a particularly big fan of H.G. Wells and just like, oh, I've got a chance to make a sort of pun and use a world-famous science fiction creation. I have to say, The Time Machine is actually a really good book. It's a bit odd, don't get me wrong, and it is it's very short, so it's very enjoyable. And something I think people should definitely read, because it's kind of very early science fiction. And it's really cool. I really like it. Anywho, enough blathering on about stuff that is unrelated to pirates and the Black Pearl and moving everywhere and stuff. But we've obviously got to go and try and rescue Elizabeth. Also, I know I mentioned in the last part that I really like the kind of recreation of the scene from the movie that they do. When is the, you best stop believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. Because in the film that is just such a great scene, and I'm so glad that they did recreate it. But as you probably noticed, it was certainly lacking in atmosphere and emotion, and I think that's something that Kingdom Hearts needs to improve on when we get Kingdom Hearts 3. Because it's just like, I understand that doing like a score for a cutscene is a lot of work, especially when you have so many cutscenes, but I think for moments like that, especially stuff that's so iconic, it's worth taking the extra time to actually, you know, create something that creates that atmosphere and elicits the same emotions that you felt when you were watching the film, because that's essentially what the game's trying to do. It's trying to kind of tickle those nostalgic bones and enjoy it through that manner as well as the gameplay that you're experiencing. And I will say that's scene that they did was in this world is probably one of the better done ones, if only because it's pretty accurate, kind of word for word almost, and I don't recall there being that much music going on in that scene, but we have stuff later on where just the mood is just drained completely. There's a world I'm thinking of kind of that is at the end of this path that we're heading, which, my word, just the lack of any sort of atmosphere at the end of that world just moves so quickly, it's depressing, because it's such an iconic moment as well.
Every last piece that went astray, we have returned, save for this. And now, the blood will be repaid. to free us from this curse forever.
I have to say, something that happens in this world that happens absolutely nowhere else is there is actually blood in Port Royal. The game has avoided blood, like, in pretty much every single game, and yet it is here. I mean, it has to be because of the plot, but it does show us a slightly more mature edge that they went with, because they went with a slightly more mature film. It's just a shame that visually it conflicts really, really badly with the general art style of Kingdom Hearts. So I hope kind of when Kingdom Hearts 3 does happen, I know I'm doing this a lot, and you can hardly blame me. We've been waiting for, like, so this came out like 2006-07, so we've been waiting like 7-8 years for Kingdom Hearts 3, and the build-up has been insane, so it's kind of just like, I just want it to be here now, and I want it to be perfect. Honestly, I have no expectations that it will be perfect. I'm perfectly expecting there to be things that I dislike, because even in stuff that you really, really, really love, it's perfectly healthy to have elements that you don't like, and it's certainly healthy to criticise that which you love, because then it allows you to appreciate that the things that you do love the most all the more. If you understood that kind of blathering, yeah, good luck to you. I think I kind of did one of my weird repeating things and sort of blathering to a point and then not really making the point, and then sort of just ending. I'm slightly crazy. Also, all you need to do during this is survive. Basically, just keep returning fire. You'll be fine. It's really not that difficult. Especially if you can keep the pirates in the moonlight. Because then they can't really do anything. Also, I really like Back Shuffle. It's a really awesome quick time event. Also, I really need to get used to calling them reaction commands, because that's what the game calls them, but they're quick time events. It's like, you can't really call them anything else. Also, I'm currently thinking kind of just like, we're fighting in the moonlight, and it's just like, dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight, everybody's feeling do 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 do. Yeah, I've told you I do this with songs. And also the emphasis on the moon is just sending me into moon river wider than a mile. I'm crossing you in style someday. We're after the same rainbow's end, waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend, Moon River and me. 'Cause I've been playing a lot of Bayonetta 2 and loving it.
And now the blood will be
Also, flashback. We're getting some interesting narrative twists here that we haven't already experienced, even though we definitely have with Roxas.
We wait for the opportune moment.
When it's of greatest profit to you?
May I ask you something? Have I ever given you reason not to trust me? Stay here and try not to do anything stupid. Begun by blood undone.
Look, blood! In a Kingdom Hearts game? What? But yes, it's here. Also, fun little fact, even though Disney generally shies away from showing blood of any sort in their films, you do have some films that show blood.
Your father was your father.
I mean, Beauty and the Beast is a perfect example.
No.
I don't understand.
What's going on?
Who brought this wench to us?
She said her name was Turner. Come on.
Why isn't it working?
You need more blood. Get on with it.
Idiots.
Hurry.
You there! The medallion! After them, you ingrates!
Ah, the failure of pirates. And I've completely lost track of what I was talking about before kind of the cutscene got good. Oh yeah, it was blood. So it's in Beauty and the Beast. I think it might be in Lion King. Although I do know that they had to make the meat that they showed, because there's in Be Prepared, just before, there's a bit where Scar is holding on to a bit of kind of zebra meat. And I think initially it was kind of very realistic, in the sense of kind of very pink and oozy, and they kind of had to change the colour to make it less horrific. Because obviously, Disney kind of have a weird thing where they censor themselves, but they kind of still get away with some pretty horrific stuff. In the sense of what they show. So, Clayton's death in Tarzan is a prime example. Because it's just like, him hanging himself is just like really horrifying, and then just the shadow that you see leaves you in no doubt, and it's kind of, it is really horrifying. But because it's in shadow and it is kind of, everything's quite dark, and it's only for like a split second that you kind of see the swinging corpse, they get away with it. And like, in that sense, I think Disney's understanding of when to use maturer things and when not to is generally quite good. Not all the time, I mean, I think sometimes they could have born to go a little bit further, but also I think this guy was a little bit stuck there, just kind of frozen, shall we say. That totally wasn't a reference to Frozen. Totally not. I think I just used Blizzard. Everything is relating to Frozen right now. I think it's because I'm going into slightly festive mode, which may sound slightly crazy because of when I'm recording this, which is insane, but I'm getting a bit festive, so Frozen's on the brain.
Elizabeth, where did you get that?
It's yours. From that day we found you, drifting at sea.
After all this time, I thought I lost it. It was a gift from my father. He sent it to me.
I'm sorry.
Why did you take it?
Because I was afraid that you were a pirate. That would have been awful.
Of course. Don't you see? It wasn't your blood they needed. It was my father's blood. My blood. The blood of a pirate.
How the blazes did you get off that island, Jack?
When you sailed away in my ship and marooned me on that godforsaken spit of land with naught but a pistol and a single shot, you forgot one very important thing, mate. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
I won't be making that mistake again.
Then what say you to putting the past behind us, untying these ropes, and letting me negotiate the return of your medallion, eh? What say you to that?
Seeing as how the Black Pearl's mine now, Jack, letting you go doesn't seem to fall within my interest.
Odd. I'm not actually concerned with your interest. Give me back the pearl!
All right, lock him in the brig.
We're coming up on the interceptor. What do we do, Captain?
What do you think, you idiot?